All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show on a Thursday night. Sans Dieter. Dieter's doing a little KMBR, and then he's got his thing with Jake. But I do want to talk a little bit about Minicamp. I was in Santa Clara today. My forehead is proof that I was there in Santa Clara. Probably should have used a little bit more lotion. But I got a lot of takeaways and a lot of things to say, and I want to hear from some of you as well. So let's get it rolling right here, right now. Let's get the Krug Show rolling. Of course, brought to you by Pig and a Pickle. Let's go. All right, we're off and running. There we go. There we go. Fire up the band. Welcome to the Krug Show on a Thursday night. Larry Krueger with you after a hot day in the sun in Santa Clara, but I thought, you know what? We got to stream tonight. We got to go tonight. And we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. Go say hi to Damon and Mary. Get some brisket. Get some brisket chili. We're also brought to you, as you can see on the screen, by LearnKey Upskill Academy. The show is sponsored by LearnKey Upskill Academy. They're an online learning platform. I love these guys. They're designed to get you job ready in 6 months or less, whether you're interested in IT, cybersecurity, marketing, could be another high-demand field. It's a company that offers 30 different certification programs to help you take that next step in your professional career. And they're really, really good. They've been in business for 37 years. They've worked with over 200,000 students through the years. They place about 100 graduates every month in well-paying jobs. So if you're between jobs, if you're underskilled, if you're not making the kind of money you want to make, if you want to get yourself a little bit more skilled so you can do something totally different than what you currently do, check these guys out. The link is in the description below for all of our sponsors, LearnKey Upskill Academy. And thanks to them for being proud sponsors of the Krug Show. All right. Today was Minicamp in Santa Clara. And, we're going to show some footage because we rolled about, 8 or 9 minutes of what we call B-roll footage. But it's just my footage that I took from OTAs. And we'll roll that in the background. It's funny, when I was a teenager, my mom's family lived in Chicago, and we used to go. I spent some time there in the summertime in the 90s, and they had CLTV, Chicagoland Television, and they had this show from Platteville where the Bears train, and it was like live from Platteville. I mean, this is like 1997. It was like two guys sitting there, and they were talking about the Bears, training camp and all about the Bears and kind of taking calls. And then just playing like footage from camp that they had gathered throughout the day. And I'm telling you, it was a great show because you're just watching training camp and you're hearing these guys talk about the Bears and Chicagoland Television. This was in the 90s, years before you ever saw anything like this on the West Coast. But basically, that's what we're going to give you tonight. We're going to give you a little bit of footage from camp and talk a little bit about the Niners because I thought today was a significant day. Even though there's no helmets, there's no pads, football's meant to be judged and graded after the guys have pads on. It's a hitting sport. So if you take out the hitting, a lot of times the smaller, less physical players do well without the pads because, they don't have to worry about getting starched and getting beaten up, getting hit really hard. So anyway, there were some observations that I'm going to give you from today in training camp, or training camp in OTAs. It felt like training camp. And then we'll play some sound. I asked Fred Warner a question today at the podium. I asked Kyle Shanahan a question at the podium. Coach Yak on his Twitter has a couple good sound bites that we're going to throw your way and give you kind of a sights and sounds of training camp. OTAs, I should say. May OTAs. It feels like training camp. So basically what it is the Niners have these OTAs. Then they'll have a mandatory mini camp with the entire roster. This is the whole roster as well. That's mandatory. That will be coming up in June. And then once they have that, they shut it down. for about 2 months. Or shut it down for whatever it is, not 2 months. It's probably more like 45 days, something like that. From June till mid-July. They basically shut it down until training camp. And this is a great time for coaches to go vacation, spend time with their family. This is the true getaway time. After the draft, after the OTAs, after, the haze in the barn on the plan. I mean, you're still, all good football people will still be doing some work. But for the most part, these guys try to get away. If they can, go spend time with their family, because they're going to work 100-hour weeks coming up in mid-July. And it's going to stay that way probably until this point next year. But today, let's talk about today. What did we learn today at OTAs? What stood out today at the OTAs? Okay, a couple things. One, Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy looked great today. I mean, absolutely threw lasers. I thought he had a number of great plays. Probably the play of the day was Brock Purdy going up top to Juwan Jennings down the left sideline, and it was a dime. Absolute dime. Dropped it in the bread basket, as they say. Hit Jennings, dead run, on the go. Perfect pass. Beautiful play. That was probably the highlight. But Purdy had a number of plays where he threw with conviction and completed a number of passes, all throughout the field, and a lot of them right down the middle. Jennings had a huge day, but Jordan Watkins looked good. Jacob Cowing looked good. That was the thing. I was expecting there to be kind of an energy kind of drain. You don't have Ayuk. You don't have Debo. You're going to take away Debo and Ayuk. What's this thing going to feel like? But it didn't feel like an energy drain because you had some real athleticism out there. You had Jacob Cowing, who's made noticeable strides from year one to year two. And it's funny, I asked Shanahan about that after practice. Why? Might as well play that. I know we're going a little bit out of order here, but why is it that that rookie receivers seem to struggle? And it's not. Shanahan was a receiver, and we're not talking about like one or two receivers. For every Randy Moss who came into the league and just was awesome, there's a bunch of guys who just come in and just struggle the first year, and then they make an adjustment in year two, they take off, and they wind up being really good. I don't know why it is, and I asked Shanahan about this today, and we'll hear what he has to say, because I think this is kind of an interesting answer. Here's Shanahan from this afternoon in Santa Clara, and I asked him that question. I said Jacob Cowing looked pretty good. He had some plays. Why do wide receivers take some time?
Kyle, it looked like Cowing made a couple plays today. Why do receivers coming out of college typically struggle, maybe more so than some other positions?
I think the league's a little different I think defenses are a lot tougher in the NFL, just from a secondary standpoint, a pass rush standpoint, a preparation standpoint. I think receivers in college, you can get away with just going fast and being a little bit sloppy, just if you have the skill set. I think when it's like that in the NFL, you can't get away with it. So guys got to learn a lot more, the timing, whatever their offense is, how to play within it and still use their ability, how to break a huddle, hear a long play call, line up, move, come off the ball, do all that stuff, and then think of the nuances of coverages and routes you've never ran before, and catch the ball and get up the field. But at the same time, sometimes that's the first time anyone's heard a play call. And the majority of these guys just sit outside the numbers and look to their buddy on the sideline and signals their route. They run their route. They come back. They tell them to take the next play off because the ball's going to the other side of the field. So they kind of just jog and conserve their energy, and just a little bit different. But when you're on a team like that, it's the same for a lineman too. So it's to me, it's adjustment for everybody.
Kyle, it looked like Kyle.
I thought that was a really, first of all, long answer, but a very interesting answer too. And it is true. It's like in college, literally somebody's going to hold up a card. It's like green, it's like, that means you're running the go route. You see it in college. It's like the layers of simplicity, no end, in college. They'll hold up a green, a yellow card, a red card, a card that has an X on it, and it all means something. but it's not nearly as intricate and as detailed as what you see in the NFL. Not to mention that, every college receiver, they're probably going up against somebody they're going to play a caliber of corner that they're going to play in the NFL, 3-4 times a year, in the SEC maybe 4 or 5 times a year. But if in the NFL you're getting a top tier guy every week, so it's like the greatest corner you went up against in college every single week. And I think it makes it really, really difficult. But I think Kyle's right. It's the several different layers of complexity in the pro game compared to the college game. But he illustrated it pretty clearly there. But what stood out today to me, that the guys who stood out were the receivers. I thought a couple of guys stood out, but Cowing especially. Jacob Cowing was really good at UTEP, and he was good at Arizona. But he stepped in last year, didn't do much, and he had a hard time keeping his feet on returns. But, man, today he looks a little bit stronger. He looks a little bit bigger. He had a couple really explosive plays. And you're watching this and you're going, this guy's going to do it this year, man. This guy's going to produce. This guy's going to play. And it's not one of these optimistic in May. Now, this guy I think really shows – when you looked at his college game film, and then he didn't have a great rookie year, but man, today he looked like a guy who could be a major player in their offense. Just very fast, very explosive, knows where he's going, wants it, is working at it, has gained an extra step and had 4.3 speed, but it's the strength. He looks like he runs with a little bit more power. He's a little bit more sudden, a little bit more explosive. He just went from like college body to pro body, and maybe it took a year to redshirt, but Jacob Cowing, I'll be shocked if Jacob Cowing doesn't have a good year this year. He looked good today. The other guy who looks really good is Jordan Watkins. Jordan Watkins looks really good. And, he's moving really well. I mean, I loved he's for a receiver, he's very, very crisp in what he's doing. I'm going to give you an example. Coach Yak, courtesy of our good friend Coach Yak. Coach Yak's Twitter, he's got this little footage here of Jordan Watkins. It's not very long, but here it is right here. And you've got the wide receiver coach, or probably on the other side, or I'm not sure if this might be one of their assistants. But here's Watkins. And he's got good precision. Good precision. As you can see, he's not super skinny. He's got some pretty good heft to him. And this guy did it in the SEC. This guy had an amazing day against Arkansas last year. 8 catches for 154 yards and 5 touchdowns. Here he is at practice. It's just one rep, and it's not like this is the greatest rep of all time, but it's just the precision, plucking it with the hands. He just looks like he knows what he's doing out there, and he does. I mean, the guy played at a high level. He was productive. He's got the traits. Very interesting player. So if there was the first thing that jumped out today about practice, Cowing and Jordan Watkins, and even without Debo, even without Ayuk, it still looked like the Niners are going to have some juice on the offense. And it wasn't just those two guys, because Guerendo also was a big part of that. Guerendo is explosive. And I don't know how they're going to use Guerendo, because he's not a natural running back, but he's such a good receiver out of the backfield. I think you almost have to throw him the ball out of the backfield a lot this year. I mean, they got to find a way to get the ball in the hands of Jacob Cowing and Isaac Guerendo. And maybe Jordan Watkins as well, Why? Because these guys have speed. All these guys run in the 4.3s. The 49ers are kind of a plodding team. They are a little slow, and they lack some speed. But, man, these 3 guys really have it. And it was fun to watch. Couple other observations. Braden Willis was used today as a fullback, and he might be their future fullback. They really like him. They gave him a gold helmet designation. He hasn't been able to really break through as a tight end. They don't really have a backup fullback. They used Willis today out of the backfield a bunch, and he looked like the backup to Juice. I think that could wind up being Garendo, but they like Braden Willis, and they like the way he catches the ball. So that might be interesting. That might be where Braden Willis finds his niche, is at fullback. They've talked about using him in other capacities, but today was the first time I actually saw them use him as a fullback. And I like the way it looked. He looks good. He really does look good. And he's a guy that, I kind of didn't put a whole lot of, wasn't putting a whole lot into him making this roster. But if you move him to fullback, suddenly he becomes a lot more viable. Mason Pline, the tight end, the converted basketball playing tight end. Mac Jones hit him on a really nice crossing route. I think Pline, is benefiting greatly from that redshirt year. I expect him to come out and really play this year. I think he's got a very good chance to make the roster. At left guard, it looks like it's Ben Bartch who's going to be the starter. But there's also Nick Sikel. There's also Connor Colby, and there's Drew Moss. But Bartch looked good today, and he's got the experience, and I think he's going to get the first go at it at left guard. So left to right, I think it's going to be Trent Williams, who was not there today. And I saw the footage of him training in Houston, and it's not, he's an offensive lineman, so he's going to have a pretty big midsection, but I don't know. It didn't look like Trent's been training super hard. I mean, he's obviously the greatest offensive tackle of his era, but he definitely looks like he needs to get in shape. I mean, that's what I saw. And then at offensive tackle today, Nicholas Petit-Frere did not look good. Andre Dillard wasn't there. DJ Humphreys, I don't know if that deal has fallen apart or not, but the Niners suddenly look kind of naked at offensive tackle. Now, not suddenly because they didn't draft anybody, but Austin Pleasance did look really good. He looked fit. He looked strong. He looked fast. Austin Pleasance, who the Niners signed late last year. This is kind of this is another thing to keep in mind this year. The guys the Niners have signed late in the calendar year, like for the next year, they're not even trying to use them in December, but they sign them in December, have been some of their really nicest pickups. Last year, they signed Pleasance. Last year, they signed Hennessy. He also looked good today at practice, the center. Last year, they added Teron Jackson. He looked really good today at practice, edge rusher. 2 years ago, they added Sam Aquinu. Sam Aquinu was terrific last year. So that, Austin Pleasance was signed late last year. He's had a little bit of an advantage because he's had more time in the system to learn it. He getting it in shape and showing up in shape. He looked good today. He really looked good. And Petit-Frere looked horrible. He didn't even look healthy. He was like kind of limping around. There's no power at all in his stance. I mean, he just has no power. He's like a 6'7", 300+ pound guy who has no power at all, no anchor ability. He did not look good. One guy that I thought looked really good was Tatum Bethune. Tatum Bethune looked really good. Tatum Bethune knows how to play, and he's got great instincts. He's always flowing in the right direction, and when he got opportunities, he made tackles. But he's also a little bit of a liability in as a pass defender, and he's just right there on the, is he fast enough? Is he not fast enough to play in the NFL at linebacker? And to me, what he has, they can't teach, right? You can't teach somebody to have the instincts and the ball skills and the feel and the nose for the football and angles and everything that Bethune has. He's got that. It's all innate. It's all natural, or he's just really been well coached. But he's a finished product. He's a very good inside linebacker tackler. The question is, is he fast enough? And he looks faster. He looks like a different guy. And I mentioned to Fred Warner, I'm like, man, what do you think of Bethune? And without me even prompting him, Fred said it. He's like, yeah, his body is quite a bit different. He's, or whatever. I forget exactly what he said. Here it is. Let me see. We'll play it here. But Fred basically kind of jumped in on Bethune and commented that he looks like a different body type. The guy has lost weight. He looks leaner and meaner, and this guy can play. Let's hear what Fred had to say about him. Here's Fred, and I asked him the question about Tatum.
Fred, today it seemed like you were talking to Tatum Bethune and kind of helping him out a little bit. What does he need to do as a young player to take that next step?
I think he just needs to continue on the track that he's on. Honestly, I think he's been doing a fantastic job. I'm so happy for him and the way that he's put in the work, to continue to be the player that he's progressing into. He flashed last season as an undrafted free agent. These guys come in as undrafted guys, and there's low expectations. But when you come in and you flash and you're sticking people when the pass come on, like and your smart cerebral processing ability to even play Mike in this defense, it means a lot. And so for him, I've seen the progression not only just on the field and with the schematics of everything, but in his body, like the way that he's moving, the way that he looks. I think for him, it's just continuing to just keep doing what he's doing.
Yeah, and I know Fred didn't mean to say he was an undrafted player. I think Bethune was a late round draft choice. I think a 6th or 7th round pick, but not an undrafted player. But Fred had escaped Fred. But the point's the point, which is the guy's worked on his body, and he's quicker and he's faster to the football, and it's fun to watch because he's got great instincts, and Fred's totally right. I mean, Tatum Bethune knows what he's doing. Tatum Bethune's got a good feel, and now with a kind of a quicker, sleeker body, he might be fast enough to play in the NFL as a starter. And wow, that would be a phenomenal get because the guy's really, really instinctive. He shows up at the football, and he did at Florida State. That's the way he plays. So I thought he looked leaner, faster, quicker, and then for Fred to kind of reference that means that Fred was seeing it as well. I thought C.J. West looked really explosive in the hoop drills. C.J. West. It's funny. Of all the guys that the Niners drafted, I did probably 50 mock drafts. From the end of the football season to the draft, I probably did 50 mock drafts, and I kept track of them. And after the draft, I looked at them, and the only 3 players that I had projected that the Niners wind up getting, one was Jordan Watkins, and one was C.J. West, and the other was Nick Martin. And literally those 3 guys today were, I thought, the most impressive rookies that I saw. West looks really good. Nick Martin looks really good. Nick Martin, there was a play in the flat where Purdy swung it out to the back in the flat, and Nick Martin came flying up. And this guy's 6 feet, 220. But don't let anybody fool you and make you think this guy's weak. This guy's incredible stud athlete, man. I mean, we're talking about 26 reps at 225. He's jacked. He's fast. He's a tackling machine. He shot to the perimeter out to get that running back, and he was out there so fast. And the defender, all the guys on the defensive side of the ball, they were woofing. Because they knew it. It was like if that had been the game, he would have put the smack down on that running back. He snuffed it out like a candle. I mean, this guy is fast. Nick Martin is fast, and he put that on full display today. I mean, it was something else, man. And when you look at a guy who's 95th percentile in speed, runs 4.53, 95th percentile in strength, 26 reps at 225. 95th percentile in production. One year he had 140 tackles. Those guys never bust. Never. This guy's not too small. This guy's powerful and explosive. He's gonna deal out way more punishment than he ever takes. That's for sure. So I thought those rookies really look good. If you watch these things and you're honest, there'll always be somebody that you just really, or several somebodies that look good that you're just like, I wasn't planning on them looking good. In fact, we'll roll some of the tape here so you guys can see this in the background. This is just some of the footage from today's practice, but sometimes you go there expecting a certain guy to look good, and this was a long practice today, by the way, hour and a half, pretty grueling practice. As you saw, I didn't put a lot of lotion because I thought we were only going to be out there for like three or four segments of the practice, and we were out there for the whole time. So it was a long time. Got a lot of sun, but the one guy who looked really good today was Trey Avery, the cornerback, and I don't know much about him. I think he went to Rutgers. Don't know much about him, but there was a downfield pass play, and Trey Avery went downfield and stride for stride, outmaneuvered the receiver for the ball. PBU knocked it down, but this guy's strong, man, and he came in great shape. This guy's in great shape. He's really strong, really aggressive, strong-looking corner who's in fantastic shape. So don't know much about him, but Trey Avery looked great today. And when the stream is over, I'll probably have to sit down and watch me some Trey Avery. Demarcus Robinson made a nice catch. I think Purdy hit Demarcus Robinson on a nice pass play in this practice. Juwan Jennings had a phenomenal day. He was going at Renardo Green, and I would say Juwan got the best of Renardo today. Renardo is a tremendous player, and the coverage was tight, but Juwan just makes catch after catch after catch after catch. It's crazy. I mean, Juwan Jennings is he's just a dog, man. The guy loves to play NFL ball, loves to play college ball. This guy just loves to play. And it doesn't matter what you're playing for. The guy plays to win. He's not worried about he's not preserving his body or, worrying about this. No, he's out there. He's just a competitor. It's like, are we playing? Is a game on? Let's go. There's something really basic about Juwan Jennings and his approach to football that I really the more I watch him, the more I love him. He's just like the perfect DNA of what you want a receiver to be in every way, shape, or form. Size, strength, speed, attitude, hands, toughness. I mean, I don't think people realize how tough you have to be a great receiver. And, and the guys in the room think that Jennings is one of the toughest guys in the room. And he just continues to make plays, and he made a ton of plays today. Who was there but really looking like he wanted to be on the field but couldn't get out on the field was Malik Mustafa. Unlike Mustafa, who's hurt and was there, Brandon Ayuk was hurt and wasn't there. But Mustafa, just looks like he's just chomping at the bit to get out there. He's all ball, man. What a great draft pick that was. Hopefully he's not out too long. Demarcus Robinson, as I said, made a nice catch from Purdy on a ball down the middle. What's going to be a good battle is Nick Martin against D. Winters to see who starts opposite Fred, because D. Winters has put on some good weight and he was flying around. And he makes this is a guy who's been in this defense for a while and he knows how to play. So Winters and Martin, both looked really, really good. Stone Blant was out there, kind of looks smaller, but obviously great instincts. Once they put on the pads, you'll see Stone Blanton come to life because he makes nothing but tackle after tackle. There was no Jair Brown. In fact, Shanahan told us he's had an ankle procedure, some minor surgical procedure, and he's out until training camp. So the starters at safety were Richie Grant and Jason Pinnock, and I thought they looked pretty good, especially Richie Grant. Richie Grant's an athlete. Robert Beal was not out there. Another guy who's, needed to be out there. He was not. He's out with an injury. Alfred Collins. My main concern with Alfred Collins, I said it on draft day, I'll say it again, is just injuries. He's a big guy with long legs, and they're thick, but long-legged defensive tackles have a hard time keeping guys off their legs. And now he's got a calf injury. He wasn't there. Didn't see him. Hopefully he'll be right for training camp, but that's my number one concern. Like, I don't have concerns about CJ West because I really believe he's going to step right in and play right away. Collins, I have concerns about durability. That's my concern with Alfred Collins. Can he be a durable player? We saw Spencer Burford at right tackle a lot today. I thought that was kind of interesting. Burford playing right tackle. He played right tackle at University of Texas at San Antonio. I know they've looked at him exclusively at guard, and there was some belief that maybe he's not quick enough to play tackle. But I thought that was interesting seeing him at tackle. The other thing that I noticed, and I watched the O-line drills as we're looking at here, coaches coach players hard that they like. This is for Petit Frere, by the way. He's like barely moving well at all. I mean, I don't know if you look at him, he's just not moving well. And there's no anchor ability. But Connor Colby, Chris Forster was coaching Connor Colby hard. So, I don't know. What does that mean? Could mean nothing, but I think a lot of times it means that a coach really likes you and wants you to be good. And I noticed that today. Look, Chris Forster was absolutely in the ear of Connor Colby and just barking at him. And that means that's the universal I like you, kid. If I didn't like you, I would just say nothing. But I like you, kid. I need you to get better. So I'm going to coach you hard and see if you can get better. And it's a little bit of a test too. How soft are you? There's been some debate because I think Grant put out that CMC didn't look fast. I'd have to disagree. I thought CMC looked really explosive. I really did. I thought, you got to remember it's May. You got to remember he's coming off of a PCL injury, Achilles tendonitis in both Achilles. I don't know that he's really truly letting it go, but my thought was the opposite. When I watched CMC today, there was more than a couple times I thought, woo, look at him. And I don't remember him playing that fast almost at any point last year. I thought he looked like he was reaching a speed that I didn't see last year. And I definitely didn't see that from him, the last time we saw him. I thought he showed explosiveness today. I thought he looked bouncy. I thought he looked energetic, and I thought he looked healthy. Now, I don't think he was really letting it rip, full 100, but he was plenty fast today. I thought he showed really good explosiveness. So I find it interesting that Grant would say that he didn't think he looked fast at all or he didn't have that last gear. One, I would be concerned if there was, to me, what I was looking for is stiffness. Because backs, when they have injuries, start to stiffen up. And then they don't look very athletic. This guy didn't look stiff to me today at all. He looked loose and bouncy and athletic and explosive. I thought he was shockingly fast today, to be completely honest. So I'm not sure. And everybody sees things a little differently, and who knows? It's just my eyes telling me what they're telling me. But I thought he looked fresh. I thought he looked healthy. And I was really encouraged. I thought he looked explosive. And let's be honest, big part of their year is tied to that that guy. And I thought he looked good. I really did. He had multiple runs where I was like, whoo, CMC is cooking. So, so I thought he jumped out to me. Now, I didn't, outside of Garendo, Patrick Taylor I saw flashed a couple times. Didn't see Izzy Abanaconda if he was there. Didn't see him. Didn't see anything from Kiner if he was there. Didn't see anything from Jordan James if he was there. Maybe I did see something from Kiner, actually, now that I think about it. Maybe I did see a run on the sidelines from Kiner on a catch. It's hard to say, but I definitely remember seeing Garendo, and I thought Garendo looked really explosive, and I was really excited by Garendo. No Curtis Robinson today, no Trent Taylor. I was hoping to see Curtis Rourke, no Curtis Rourke, no Yatir Gross-Matos. He got a personal day. I guess him and his wife are having a baby. I think probably the biggest source of frustration today, I mean, where it's not going their way, like who's the swing tackle? I mean, the tackle situation's looking kind of dire, to be honest. You've got, Trent, who is old and doesn't look like he's in awesome shape and wasn't there today. You have McKivitz, who I think is really probably the most underrated guy on the team. I mean, I think that guy takes way more abuse than he deserves. He's really good, and he's a bargain at that price. And compared to their other tackles, he's freaking awesome. You lose Jalen Moore, so he goes to Kansas City, and I'm sure he'll be good there, but they're paying him a boatload of cash. So, I mean, your options at tackle, you signed DJ Humphries, that deal fell apart. You signed Andre Dillard, he wasn't there today. I'm not sure where Andre Dillard was. And then, as I said, you signed Nicholas Petit-Frere. He looks bad, really bad. The good news is that Austin Pleasance looks really good. And I would have to say right now, Austin Pleasance is far and away your leader in the clubhouse for that third tackle, swing tackle spot. We'll see if they bring in somebody else. We'll see if they work something out. We'll see. Maybe Burford. Maybe Burford's the answer at tackle. Maybe Burford could be the swing tackle. I mean, he's smart. He's a veteran. He's been around. So it's not like, there's no way. I don't know. It's that's going to be an interesting one. The offensive tackle spot. Can Trent play and stay healthy all year? And can McKivitz play at a decent level? And if not, man, how do they get through this year? I mean, they really needed to go invest in an offensive tackle, and they just couldn't get anything done in the draft. Connor Colby might be a decent guard. Can Burford do it? I mean, this is you're dangling here, right? You just paid your quarterback $265 million, and you're a 37-year-old, Trent Williams calf injury away from, really being deficient on the edges potentially as pass protectors. So that is a concern. That is a concern for sure. But I would say overall, I would say it was a pretty interesting day. The real positives for me, there's a few, but the ones that stand out the most, I thought the skill position guys that I was really concerned that the Niners were going to look really flat, slow, and unexplosive with no Debo, no Ayuk. And I didn't see anything from Isaiah Nayer, by the way. He was out there, but I didn't see anything really from him or Isaiah Hodgins. Bergen, I saw catch some punts, but nothing crazy. But I did see Jordan Watkins and Jacob Cowing look like the kinds of guys that could help out right away. So I love that. I thought that was probably the biggest bright spot on the offense. Braden Willis at fullback. Didn't expect to see that, but that's clearly the direction they're going. Mac Jones and Tanner Mordecai might have a little battle for that number 2 quarterback job. Mordecai, of course, knows the system better. Jones is a former first-round pick. Garendo they've got to figure out a way to work Garendo in somehow, some way, because there are very few athletes that big and that fast. To me, if there's going to be a guy that kind of comes out of nowhere and does big things, it's going to be Garendo. Why do I feel that way? Last year, they threw him 16 passes. He caught 15. That's a great demonstration of superior hands, is that when you're a rookie and they throw you 16 passes over the course of the year and you catch all but one, I mean, he's got great hands, and he's big and really fast. So Like you throw him I think one of the things I want to see the Niners throw the ball to Garendo as the as the safety valve from time to time, because I think there's big play ability. I think it's going to be both a safe play for Purdy, an easy play for him to convert. The way you think about Brock's accuracy, the way he throws the short and intermediate pass with tempo and with accuracy. And then you think of a receiver that has the kind of ball skills that Garendo has. And then you think about the speed that he has at 225 pounds. He looked phenomenal today. I mean, he is a thoroughbred. That guy is a mismatch. If he's not a major portion of the offense this year, somebody there needs to be shit canned, because that guy is fast and he can catch, and Brock is really accurate in the short range, and that may be really, really unstoppable. There's a couple things out there. The one thing that we didn't get a chance to see today because he wasn't out on the field is Ricky Pearsall. But I think Purdy to Pearsall is going to be really good. Really good. Why? Because Purdy's accurate. Pearsall's got great hands. They're going to work it out. They're going to do the reps on the field. They're both just junkies when it comes to film and reps, and they're going to work together. Those two guys, Purdy to Pearsall, is going to be a thing. I heard Dieter say tonight, go get CMC and put him on your fantasy team. I would say go get Pearsall. I think Pearsall is going to be good for people's fantasy teams. I think Purdy to Pearsall is going to be really, really hard to stop, because Pearsall's got great ball skills, and him and Brock are going to get on the same page. But Purdy to Garendo has potential to be really, really exciting because of Purdy's accuracy, Garendo's massive catch radius, his tremendous hands, and then his speed. I mean, that could be an unbelievable weapon for the 49ers. If you can get Isaac Garendo isolated on some strong safety or weak side linebacker and at his speed and Brock's accuracy, and those guys start to kind of rep it in practice, and you get, Brock throwing that guy like a 10, 12-yard pass, get him ISO'd on some linebacker. I mean, we're talking about 6. We're talking about touchdown after touchdown after touchdown after touchdown. That could be fun to watch. That could really be something. So that's another thing that really kind of stood out. Is that Garendo, his upside potential is absolutely through the roof. Nick Martin looks really special. Mykel Williams is clearly, gigantic athletic guy, but to me, I got to see how smooth he is. It's like there's a little stiffness in his game. There's a little bit of stiffness there, and that's a concern. I think he's going to be a really good run defender. The question is, how good of a pass rusher is Mykel Williams right away? And I think that's something I'll be looking for is what kind of pass rusher is that guy? Because if he can be a pass rusher, then, because I think he's going to be pretty good against the run. I think he's such a strong, body type at the line of scrimmage that I think he could be very, very consistently good against the run. By the way, I wasn't the only one who liked Nick Martin. Here's what Fred Warner said today. He says, I loved everything that Nick's been about since he arrived. Well, some of those situations, guys don't want to seem like they're, the whole too cool thing. He's come in and he's asked me every single question known to man. Like, Fred, how you doing this? What are you doing after practice? What are you doing after you lift? And he wants to be a part of those things and not being afraid to ask those questions. I mean, I've seen the athletic ability flash already on the field, and the way he closes space really quickly, and he already has a great mindset of wanting to learn. So I'm really happy with where he's at. Nick Martin is going to be a very good NFL player. I don't think there's any question about that. Let's hear from George Kittle, because Kittle is always Mr. Good Vibes. And let's hear from Kittle. Kittle was asked about the vibes of training or of OTAs thus far, and here's what he had to say.
4 days of work, and then a combination of both. I would say it's pretty normal. If you went to like all 32 teams across the league, spring football is really fun because it's 4 days of work, and then it's a 3-day weekend usually for most teams, and there's no game on the weekend, so you don't have like the pressure of preparing for a game, battling through injuries, learning your plays for the week. So like that takes a lot of stress and pressure off it. So guys are just kind of naturally in a good mood, and they're all excited for the year. Who was it? I think it was Will Compton said that, at this point in the year, everyone's like, training and practicing for a Super Bowl, and everyone has that mindset. And then the season reality hits sometimes, and so that changes it. But I will say, one of the cool things about being in the building right now is that I think 99% of us are here. And so when you have all your best players are here, kind of setting the tone, setting an example, specifically because we have so many new guys, whether it's free agents, whether it's young guys, rookies. We're trying to, get them into that same mindset as that we have established, and it's something that we have to reestablish every single year. So the fact that we're all here having a good time, the vibes are high. I would say they're immaculate, and guys are practicing well, guys are competing. Jawan's still on fire, which is really fun to see. But the boys are feeling it.
The vibes are immaculate. George, that's a good one. In fact, I asked George, I'm like, hey, is the bonding, is it good to bond with Purdy in the off season? I said, and what was the deal with the you guys went to a Nashville Predators game? I'm like, what's the deal? I mean, did you, did you make Brock buy a Predators jersey, or did he borrow your jersey, or what was the deal? And he's like, oh man, I'm connected with the Nashville Predators. I had them print up a jersey with Brock and his wife's name on them. I mean, that's, you're connected. You're connected. But that was pretty funny watching those guys, watching a Nashville Predators game. But yeah, the Niners, they seem loose. They seem fresh. They seem unburdened by the lowered expectations, and they seem freshened up from a longer off season. And I don't know what it's going to look like this year. It's really hard to say. If you said, what's this thing going to look like, on offense, it's funny. People talk about, they're going to be this and that. It's basically the same offense as they've had, right? I mean, you're taking out Debo, and Debo's the face of it for a lot of people. Especially nationally, and Ayuk you're not going to have for a while. But it's really, other than that, I mean, you get the quarterback's the same, the running back is the same, and he's a former offensive player of the year. The fullback is a Pro Bowler, he's the same. The tight end's a Pro Bowler, he's the same. The left tackle's the best left tackle in the game, he's the same. Outside of the left guard, your entire line returns intact. You still have, last year at the end, you had Debo and Ayuk and Pearsall and Jennings. Now you have Pearsall and Jennings and Jordan Watkins, Demarcus Robinson and Jacob Cowing, and you're going to get Ayuk back later in the year. But, I mean, it's a very similar offense, and I don't know, I think they have more speed. Cowing and Watkins are definitely going to give him speed. Those are two guys that run on the 4-3s. Garendo becoming a big player in this offense is going to give him more speed. Pline's going to give him more speed at tight end. Jordan James and Corey Kiner give him a couple young running backs that could add to the mix. So they've added some components. I think offensively it's going to be pretty strong. I think there's reason to believe it's going to be a pretty strong offense. Shanahan calling the plays. Dieter, I was driving home, and Dieter was saying that he thinks they may go more 12 personnel, which is two tight ends. I don't know if I see that. I mean, I know that, without Ayuk, they're going to need more help at receiver, but I'm not sure if they're done adding receivers. And I don't know if they're going to, I get the sense that it's going to be a 21 personnel, two-back offense kind of a deal. I think, it's funny, he mentioned that, but I don't know that there's another tight end that they're going to really feature in the offense. Luke Farrell, I think, is kind of a special teamer. Dwelly, really? Braden Willis, I think, is going to be used as a fullback. So I think, they may want to get Willis on the field, but I think it might be in the form of 21 personnel, 22 personnel, the two-back offense. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. He seems to think there's going to be a lot of 2 tight ends this year. Maybe he's right. Maybe he's right. I don't know if I see it that way. I do think that there'll be other guys. At times, I think they're gonna try to get George Kittle in the pattern. So I think there could be. They're gonna try. So somebody's gonna probably have to stay in and block, because their offensive line is not incredible. But and so I understand that thinking, but there's also some pretty good young running backs here, and you got some pretty good young receivers here, and I'm not 100. They've been very hesitant to do anything really significantly different offensively. They've made changes on defense. God knows. They were playing the Seattle defense. They've moved it around. They've changed their blitz packages. They've changed their front. Now they're wide 9. They've evolved pretty dramatically on the defensive side of the ball. On the offensive side of the ball, not as much. So to me, it's going to be interesting to see. I'm also interested to see, who gets the left guard job. Is it Barch? Is it Burford? Is it Colby? Is it Zakel? Is it somebody we're not thinking of? Drew Moss, Drake Nugent. One guy that kind of looked good to me today was Zach Johnson. They got Niners have an offensive lineman named Zach Johnson, who's from North Dakota State, 6'4", 300-pounder. I thought he looked pretty good today at practice. And don't know much about Zach Johnson, but he looked pretty good to me. Now, special teams, and they were horrible on special teams, and I would imagine Boyer's going to make them better. We'll find out. I mean, I thought the interesting revelation of the day today was that Wishnowsky is not hurt, even though he's had back and knee problems in the past. He's healthy. And Shanahan made that declaration today. He said, no, this guy's ready to play. He's ready to go somewhere else and play. So, obviously, they just preferred Morstead, who's a veteran punter. And so he steps in, and Wishnowski's out. Once again, I didn't like investing draft choices in kickers and punters. I don't think, if they're noticeably better, if there is a discernible difference between a 3rd-round kicker and an undrafted kicker, I haven't seen it. If there's a discernible difference between a punter that you take in the 4th round versus a punter that you get at a tryout camp, I haven't seen it. I want to draft football players, and I'll sign kickers and I'll sign punters. And yes, does that mean that I'm automatically going to miss out on the next Ray guy? Yes. Does that mean that I'm going to automatically miss out on the greatest kicker of all time? Probably. I'm okay not having the greatest kicker of all time. It would almost be a strategy. Let's not have the greatest kicker of all time, because then we'll be forced to kick when we don't want to kick. All right, let's jump over to the defensive side of the ball. Nick Bosa was there running around looking good. Nick Bosa looks good. He really does. C.J. West was looking good, moving around. I feel really good about C.J. West. Kalia Davis and Teron Jackson were out there running around looking pretty good. Sebastian Valdez was looking pretty good. Robert Beal was hurt, not out there. And that's a guy that, just absolutely has got to do it. Yatir Gross-Matos and his wife are having a baby, I guess, so that's why he wasn't out there. I thought Mykel Williams looks really explosive for that size. Now, he's raw, and he didn't play very much at Georgia, and I don't know if they can really play him. They may have to go get somebody else, because I don't know that they can play him as many downs as they want to play him. He's just not used to playing that much, and I don't know what's going to happen if he does play that much. That, to me, seems a little problematic. You're taking a player that played like 30% of the snaps at Georgia, and you're going to ask him to play 50, 60% of the snaps. That's an issue. That's an issue. He looks good, but he's raw. He needs to be coached up, and probably needs to have another body or two that helps limit his exposure, so to speak. Chaz Surratt was out there today. the guy that Robert Saleh loves so much. And you can see he's an athletic kid. There's no question. He's 230. He's athletic. Do not be surprised if Chaz Surratt winds up playing really well for them. The linebacker that opened my eyes today, well, I mean, outside of Nick Martin is going to be a tremendous player. I mean, I'm convinced. I would be, you'd have a hard time convincing me of anything else. But Tatum Bethune, the fact that he got in shape, looks faster, he could be a real nice player. And then in the secondary, I mean, Trey Avery I guess he came over from the Titans, and 5'11", 181-pound corner, played at Rutgers. He made a nice play, and he's strong, confident corner. Maybe it was just a great day for him. Upton Stout is short. There's no question. He is short. He's a small guy. He still looks like an explosive athlete, but he's a small player for sure. But Trey Brown made a nice play. Trey Avery made a couple nice plays. Those guys really stood out. Marquise Siegel was not practicing. For whatever reason, he was not practicing. And I would say there was about 15 to 20 guys that were on a side field, like doing other things, training and getting ready, but not really practicing. So good day. Overall, I would say it was a good day. If I'm looking at this thing, I would say, well, Purdy looks great. CMC looks really, really good. And that right there is a major revelation because I didn't know what CMC what CMC was going to look like. And then it wasn't like this energy vacuum with no Debo and no Ayuk because there was a lot of juice that you could feel from CMC, from Guerendo, from Cowing, from Jordan Watkins. Guys with a lot of speed that were running around and making some nice plays. So I thought that was a good feeling. Just the fact that Cowing and Watkins look like they're ready to step in. And that would give the Niners something they have not had. The Niners have not had multiple guys with 4.3 speed. And that could be really intriguing. And as I said, the Guerendo, when you think of the accuracy of Purdy and the ball skills of Guerendo and the speed of Guerendo, he's intriguing. I don't know how they're going to use him, but they got to use him. He is going to be super intriguing. Now, the big question, and before we get out of here, we probably should ponder this one. How good is this Niner team? And I would say just on the rep of Brant Boyer and how much they've talked about it, I got to think that special teams is going to be, I don't know if it's going to be a major strength, but it's going to be better. I would say special teams for sure is going to be better than what it was. I think the offense, even without Debo and Ayuk, has potential to be pretty good. CMC's got to bounce back, and Cowing and Watkins have got to step up. I definitely would be interested in a Malachi Corley if he's out there because I think they do need one more weapon. I'd feel really much better about them. And they don't necessarily need a speed weapon. They have some speed. They need kind of more of a chain mover, more of a playmaker, and a guy like Malachi Corley might be a perfect fit. So I do think they're a little bit better offensively than I thought they potentially could be. I think they're going to be better on special teams. So what does this whole thing come down to? Well, it's an easy schedule. We know that. But I think to me it really comes down to the health and the ability to pick defensive players in the draft. How well did the Niners draft? They added C.J. West. I think he's a really good player. I really do. They added Alfred Collins. To this point, he's been hurt. They added Mykel Williams. He looks really intriguing, but he doesn't have a lot of production. They added Nick Martin. To me, he looks great. They added Upton Stout. Stout looks like he's probably going to, give the Niners a good, he's going to give them a good option if they want to use him at nickel instead of Demo Lenore. So they've got some, they've got some interesting players on defense, but it's a lot of To me, it's a big question about the D. How good's Alfred Collins? How good's Mykel Williams? How good's Nick Martin? How good can D Winters be? How good's Trey Brown? How good's Trey Avery? How good's, is Malik Mustafa gonna get back on the field? If so, how does he play? Is Jair Brown bounce back? Does Darrell Luter, is he a player? Upton Stout. I mean, they got some talent on the back end, but they also have some question marks. They got some talent on the defense on all three levels, but there's some question marks. So they're going to need to get a lot of good answers to their defensive questions. If they get a lot of good answers to their defensive questions, I think this is going to be a really good year. 12 wins, multiple playoff wins, maybe a trip to the NFC Championship game. I think that's not overly optimistic if they can get some of these guys to play well on defense. Like if I was betting on these Niner rookies on defense, the first guy I would bet on would probably be CJ West. The second guy I would bet on would probably be Nick Martin. And after that, I would be very nervous. Maybe Upton Stout would be my third guy. But I would be very nervous because, Mykel Williams didn't have a lot of collegiate production, and Collins, has already had some injuries here, and there's concerns. I mean, you need those guys to play not just a little bit. You need them to play a lot, and you need them to play well. And that's asking a lot. And somebody, one of the Niner websites had the question, are the Niners asking too much of their rookie class? And they might be. They might be. To some degree, they might be asking a little bit too much of the rookie class. That's the situation they're in. All right, let's hit the chats, and then we'll get out of here. And thanks to LearnKey Upskill Academy for sponsoring this video. The links are in the description below. We've got this one super here from Dollars. It says, Larry, how is Corey Kiner's contact balance? Oh, it's amazing. He's got amazing contact balance. In fact, I almost want to show it to you guys. It's so crazy. Corey Kiner is got unbelievable contact balance. He's a hard guy to knock down. Now, he's not the biggest guy, but man, he's got, as the guy said, he's got great contact balance. I'm trying to give you the good highlight reel. Yeah, here it is. This is James Foster on Twitter. I'll share the screen on this one, and you can see the contact balance of this guy for yourself. It's unbelievable. I mean, this guy's got incredible contact balance. Here he is, highlight reel from college. And look he takes the hit. That guy goes down. One guy, two guy, three guys touch him. Now if another guy's got him, nobody carries that guy. No, that guy's not getting him. 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, dumped it in the flat. Hits that guy. 1, 2. Okay, now he finally goes down. One runs through that arm tackle, runs through that guy. This just, you're getting the picture. Not the fastest. So he's going to take some abuse. He's going to take some punishment. He's not the fastest back, but look at the contact balance. This guy's getting starched, and he's not going down. This guy's taking tough hits, multiple tough hits. He just took a hit in the air, and he's still going. Corey Kiner's got great contact balance. And let's be honest, contact balance is like one of the biggest traits for being a terrific running back. Because you're going to get hit. And, if I took one of these hits, I'd go flying. This guy's taking the hit. He's absorbing it. He's twisting off of it. He's bouncing. One of these runs, he carries 6 guys. He's really good at the stiff arm throwaway, too. I've seen that move a couple times from Corey Kiner, going back to his LSU film. Makes you miss, runs low, stiff arm. Some of the yards after contact stats, he was second in the country to Ashton Genty. So, the one thing about running back, if it was as simple as, hey, you know what, who's the biggest, strongest, fastest, then all you'd have to find out is who's the biggest, strongest, and fastest. And you just measure these guys. But it's an instinctive position. And what makes a great running back? Well, yeah, speed is part of it, but it's not the total deal. You got to have tackle breaking ability. You've got to have the ability to make somebody miss in the hole. Corey Kiner's got a full arsenal of moves. He was Mr. Ohio, or Mr. Football in the state of Ohio, his senior year in high school. What does that mean? That means he was the best high school football player in the entire state of Ohio. He went to LSU and played well for them. What I also loved about Corey Kiner is that he doesn't miss games. Like, he plays every game. And that's what you need. You need guys who play all the games, because there's a lot of pain. There's a lot of pain in football. And first time you feel pain, if you don't play, you know what? Anybody can do it for a week. You know, if you're going to be on the team, you got to be able to do it week after week. Andre Garibay says these rookies will jump Garendo on the depth chart. Well, there's no question about that. But, you know, I will say this, though. Garendo is so big and so fast that there's almost no way he doesn't get utilized. I don't know how he's going to get utilized. I don't know if it's going to be at running back, if it's going to be at fullback, if it's going to be at wide receiver, tight end, H-back. They're going to concoct something. I don't know how they're going to utilize him. But he's too talented, too big, too strong, too fast, and too good of hands catching the ball to not use him. Garendo's big time. Garendo's got big time talent. Franco, what's up, Franco? He says, what up, Krug? What's up, Franco? He says, I'm in the Bay Area, going to be visiting for a couple days. What's a good food spot to try while I'm out here? Go Niners. Well, I mean, I would definitely say Pig and a Pickle in Emeryville or Corte Madera. The one in Corte Madera is probably the better location. It's got a bar. You know, you can sit there and have a drink. They have a patio. Yeah, I would say Pig and a Pickle for great barbecue. Pig and a Pickle. You'd love it. Absolutely love it. It depends what else. I mean, if you're, you know, if you're looking for, I mean, it really depends. It really depends what you're looking for. This is, you know, Northern California. There's everything there. There's a million different spots, all kinds of different things. But that would be that. I would go Pig and a Pickle. Go Pig and a Pickle. You can't go wrong. But if you get a hold of me, Franco, if there's some other way, if you have other thoughts about where you're going to be or what kind of food you like, Sam's Chowder House on the water is really nice. You know, not just because they sponsored the show, but they just had a great location. And if you're coming this, you know, Franco, I don't know if you're coming this weekend, but it's supposedly going to be smoking hot. You may see me down there on the patio in Half Moon Bay this weekend. I mean, it's going to be super hot, like 97 degrees, something like that. And that's too hot for me. So I may head out to the beach. I may head out to the beach and see if I can beat some of the heat. So, yeah, that's a great spot. That's a great spot as well. Sam's Chowder House. We got this one. Juan Guzman. Come on, Larry. Give him an actual good spot, not your sponsors. Well, I mean, what I mean, it depends what you think's a good spot. I mean, it's all subjective. I don't know what he likes. I don't know where he wants to go. You know, it's a fun spot is Sam's in Tiburon. You know, you go sit on the patio out there, have a couple drinks. It's kind of a cool spot. There's several good restaurants in the city along the waterfront that are you can't go wrong. So there's lots of options, but you know, it's too many for me to name. Let's just say that, too many for me to name. If anybody wants to throw Franco some options, there you go. You know, feel free. My vibe. What was he? What's this? My Vabels. My vibe is the 90s. There we go. I needed a little space bar. My vibe is the 90s. Says Larry, thanks for the awesome camp coverage. Appreciate the grind. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, if I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't do it. I love doing it, though today I got a little bit too much sun. Anyway, that's going to do it for us on a Thursday night. I'm going to go watch some Tube and hang out with the family. I'm streaming tomorrow morning at 9 with Damon Bruce. Tomorrow is Friday. Normally, I would stream with Chase Sr. on a Friday, but Chase has got a wedding plans the next couple weeks, so I don't know if he's getting married, but I think he's in a wedding. So we will not be streaming tomorrow. But we'll be streaming an awful lot in the days ahead for sure. What J49? Larry goes where the food is free. Thank you. And then somebody else meets his Costco samples. Franco says, I'm getting extra brisket chili. There you go. Seriously, I can name so many restaurants, but I just, all I would say is go check out Pig and a Pickle. I'm loyal to the bitter end. Anyway, that's going to do it for us. Hope I shared with you some thoughts on OTAs. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 9 for another edition of the Krug Show, Wake Up Style, starring Damon. Have a great night, everybody. Peace.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you